In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the 2018 NHL Draft again. We're going to run a simulation to see how the teams might end up picking and complete a mock draft for the top 10 picks. And that's coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams. So if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned in the opener, we're going to be taking a look at the 2018 NHL Draft today. We've ran a draft simulator through a website called tankathon.com. If you haven't checked out that site, go ahead. It's a lot of fun. You can run a draft simulator to find out how the teams may pick, and you can complete mock drafts on there as well in order to kind of determine where the players may end up getting selected. So I ran the simulator on that site for a second time here. We did a video like this a couple of weeks ago, and it was a lot of fun. I thought it'd be fun to take a look at it again for a couple of reasons. One, the video seemed to be quite popular and a lot of debate over who's going to get picked. Some of the junior players that are likely being selected here, their rankings have changed a little bit, and some of their seasons have come to an end. Some of them are in the playoffs, so the rankings from how I have them ranked have changed a bit. And I thought it'd be fun to have a look at different teams in different orders and see who might get selected and go from there. So I thought it'd be a lot of fun to have another go around here at this. So let me first of all tell you how the draft simulator came out. The order came out very different than the other time I've run this. So after running the draft simulator, here's how the teams ended up picking in the top 10. The number 1 selection this time went to the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres actually won the draft lottery and ended up picking first. The number 2 pick went to the New York Rangers. The number 3 pick went to the Ottawa Senators. The Coyotes dropped down to number 4. The Vancouver Canucks come in at number 5. The Red Wings at number 6. The Montreal Canadiens at number 7. The Blackhawks at number 8. The Islanders at number 9. And the Oilers at number 10. So based on the draft simulator, that's how they've how the teams have ended up picking here in order. So now this will probably be the last time we do this as a fun exercise. The actual draft lottery sweepstakes are going down April the 28th in Toronto. So that'll be live on TV. So once that 28th comes and goes, we'll know the exact order for the non-playoff teams and how they're going to be picking. So once we have that, we'll actually do we won't actually have to do the simulator anymore. We will do a mock draft at that point to see what makes most sense for each team for their selection in the first round. And by then also too, we'll probably have a final ranking of a lot of these young players. So let's take a look here at who I think each team would select with these picks. And we'll do a mock draft here, and you guys can leave some comments down below and let me know what you think. So now this time though, I'm going to go with number 10 and work our way up to number 1. So the number 10 pick belonged to the Edmonton Oilers. I do believe that they would select center Oliver Wahlstrom. Wahlstrom is a center iceman who is putting up great offensive numbers playing in US. Now Wahlstrom is a project that may have to wait a couple of years before they get him in their lineup. And taking another center iceman, I think they'd be okay doing that. I believe he's committed to continue playing college hockey here for at least one more season or two. So he would be a guy who's worth the wait though. He's putting up fantastic offensive numbers. He had 78 points in 51 games the last I had looked. So he's definitely worth the wait. He's fairly good size, great offensive instincts. For the Oilers, obviously they're pretty strong down the middle right now with McDavid and Draisaitl. They also have Nugent Hopkins, who is currently playing as a winger for McDavid. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think they'd have the patience to wait here for a year or two on this guy as he completes some college hockey. So I think it makes sense for the Oilers to go with Wahlstrom. The number 9 selection belonged to the New York Islanders. I believe they would select defenseman Noah Dobson, who's playing in the queue right now for the Acadie Bathurst Titan. He's a fairly big, good-sized mobile defenseman. He's about 6'2½", so he's got a good size, putting up great offensive numbers. He's one of the top 5 rated defensemen in this draft. And I do believe, based on the rankings, as of right now at least, that he probably would be the 5th best defenseman available. So out of the top 5, I think he'll go 5 right now, which would put him around number 9 overall. So I think that's a good choice for the Islanders. They have right now they're not too bad with their forward group, but they could certainly use some help in the back end between defense and goaltending. So it makes sense for me for the Islanders to select the best available defenseman in this draft when it's their time to pick. The number 8 selection belongs to the Chicago Blackhawks. I have the Chicago Blackhawks selecting defenseman for the London Knights, Evan Bouchard. Evan Bouchard's a player we've talked about quite a bit here on this channel and our other prospect and draft simulation videos. Bouchard's come up the rankings on the prospects list quite a bit throughout the year. He's having an over a point per game season with the London Knights. He's had a really big opportunity to shine earlier. A lot of his teammates ended up going to the World Junior Tournament where he did not. So where they were absent, he played a much bigger role, and his ice time picked up, his points picked up, everything's picked up, and he's really just skyrocketed up the rankings. I know there are some lists out there, some places and sites that are ranking him even higher, up around 4 or 5. So I don't think he's quite that high, but he's certainly significantly higher than he was at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the season, I thought he would probably be a much later first-round pick, and he's certainly jumped up quite a bit. So the Blackhawks select Bouchard. I think he'd be a good fit in Chicago. So that's how I have them going here. The number 7 pick, the Montreal Canadiens. Obviously, as we all know, the Habs have some areas they need to look at. Center ice being one of them. Probably some defensemen as well. But right now, by the time they pick number 7, I think they're going to have an opportunity to grab a tremendous center iceman, and that's going to be Barrett Hayton, currently playing for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds in the Ontario Hockey League. He's averaging just shy of a point per game. He's 6'1", so he's got pretty good size. I think he has the potential at this point to be number 1, possibly number 2, so a top 2 center for sure. Now this guy might need a little seasoning. I don't know if he can jump right to the NHL next year. He might need an extra year to develop, but either way, he gives them that player that they so badly need. The number 6 selection belongs to the Detroit Red Wings. I have the Red Wings selecting Quinn Hughes, defenseman, obviously an American-born defenseman playing in Michigan. Makes a lot of sense for the Red Wings to select Hughes, obviously playing in Michigan, US-born player. I think he'd fit really well with the Red Wings. They could certainly use some help back on the blue line. Now, he might be another guy, like I mentioned with Wahlstrom. He more than likely doesn't go straight to the NHL. He more than likely continues to play in the U.S. college hockey for another year or two, I would think, before he moves along to the NHL. But either way, I think the Red Wings are in a position where they can wait. They're going through a rebuild. They understand that it's going to be a couple of years before to take them to kind of get more competitive. And I think they have the patience to wait for him, and he's certainly worth the wait like Wahlstrom. So I can see Quinn Hughes going number 5 to the Red Wings. The number 5 pick belongs to the Vancouver Canucks. I have the Vancouver Canucks selecting from Sweden defenseman Adam Boqvist. Adam Boqvist is a tremendous defenseman. He is a smaller guy, not real small compared to some NHL players nowadays. I believe he's around 5'10", 5'10 and a half. He kind of has, Boqvist is a smaller player, not only in height, but in size as well. But he's a tremendous puck-moving defenseman. To be honest, I think he gets overshadowed quite a bit by Rasmus Dahlin. And if it wasn't for Dahlin being the head and shoulders number 1 pick here of this draft, I think Boqvist would get a lot more attention, especially over playing in Sweden. But Boqvist is arguably the number 2 or number 3, depending on who you ask, the best defenseman in this draft class. He has tremendous puck-moving ability, and I think would be a great asset to the Vancouver Canucks. So I have the Canucks selecting Boqvist in the number 5 spot. The number 4 pick goes to the Arizona Coyotes, and I have them selecting Brady Tkachuk. Brady Tkachuk is the son of former NHLer Keith Tkachuk, who has history with that organization. He's the younger brother of Matthew. Although even though he's younger than Matthew, he does have a little bit more size, a little bit more skill as well. So I think he's going to be probably just a slightly better player than Matthew. See how he can compare to his father. Obviously, Keith Tkachuk had a tremendous career in the NHL, and I think Brady Tkachuk would be a tremendous asset to the Coyotes organization. So I have him going there at number 4. The number 3 pick belongs to the Ottawa Senators, and I have them selecting out of the Czech Republic, currently playing for the Halifax Mooseheads in the QMJHL, Filip Zadina. Zadina is currently a 40-goal scorer in junior. He's having a tremendous year. Looks to be a very complete player. This is a player I've had an opportunity to watch in person a few times, and he certainly has a lot of skill, a very fun player to watch. I think he has the opportunity to be an all-around player at the NHL level, but someone who can score a lot of goals, good playmaking, very good with the puck, has a lot of good stick handling moves, very quick, can play the PK as well. A lot of players like Zadina is a type of player, I think, kind of like what Ottawa has a Mark Stone. Very different than Mark Stone, but the sense that I do, how I compare them is that he makes other players around him much better. As you notice, anybody who plays on a line with Stone, their numbers always improve because of the type of player he is. So Zadina is a very different player than Stone, but I think he has that same sort of impact on his teammates around him. And there is some argument he could go as high as number 2. If you look at the top 3 forwards in this list, they seem to flip-flop a lot depending on who you ask, who you look at and what your opinions are. For me, right now, he's sitting at number 3, and I have him going to the Senators. The number 2 pick, as I mentioned, belongs to the New York Rangers, and they would select forward Andrei Svechnikov, who's probably the best pure sniper in this draft, scoring 40-plus goals in junior as well for the Barrie Colts. Svechnikov, I think, is a great fit for the New York Rangers. There has been some speculation as well that the Rangers might be interested in bringing back Ilya Kovalchuk to the NHL. Not sure that's going to happen or not. Not so much. I mean, the speculation, obviously, as you probably know, is that Kovalchuk wants to play in New York. Doesn't mean that's going to happen, but that would be Kovalchuk's preference. So you take Svechnikov and Kovalchuk, throw a couple of Russian snipers into the Rangers lineup, that could certainly change the Rangers' look drastically for next season. But I can see Svechnikov as a player go straight to the NHL, and I think he'd have an excellent shot of having not only making the team, but having an impact right away for the New York Rangers. And of course, the number 1 selection won't come as any surprise. The Buffalo Sabres would probably select out of Sweden Rasmus Dahlin and get their generational defenseman that they so badly need. This franchise really needs a break. The Sabres have had a tough go for the last decade or more. They've seemed like they're constantly rebuilding, and they've had nothing but issues getting themselves on track. And this would be an excellent starting point. No matter how the draft goes for real, whoever gets Rasmus Dahlin is going to get a significant boost for their blue line and for their franchise, as he'll likely go straight to the NHL and have an immediate impact, in my opinion. The guy is, like I said, he has the potential to be a generational type player. He's a good cross between Nicholas Lidstrom and Erik Karlsson, is the best 2 comparables. So it has a bit of both qualities, I think. And I think he's going to be a very special player. So if this mock draft and simulation comes to be in this order, the Sabres are going to be a very, very lucky franchise, and hopefully can finally get things turned around. If you enjoyed this mock draft and simulation, we had another video, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, where we ran a simulator at that point as well. We had a completely different order that came out, so players were going to different teams, and the draft rankings for the players were different back then as well. I know it's only been a couple of weeks, but it's funny how, you know, certain performances and their seasons can alter the draft rankings quite a bit from week to week or month to month. If you missed that video and you want to go back and watch it, there'll be a link up here in a YouTube card, and it'll also be on the end screen of this video, so you can go back and see how things worked out with that simulation. If you're new to the channel, I hope you consider subscribing as well. As I mentioned, we cover all 31 NHL teams. There's plenty of content here for all fans to enjoy, so I hope you'll consider subscribing if you're new. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well. And also, if you haven't done so, please consider checking us out on social media. You're going to find our Twitter handle on the screen right here. We try to be very active on Twitter, so check that out. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.